You know, some books you just read, and some, well, they become a full-on cultural obsession. Today, we're diving deep into one of the biggest ones out there, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It's a book that has absolutely taken over, and we're about to unpack exactly why everyone is so obsessed. I mean, just listen to that. That one line is the whole story right there. It's the perfect hook, isn't it? You've got the glamour, the scandal, and this massive mystery that just grabs you from page one and does not let go. And when I say it grabs you, I'm not kidding. We are talking over 1 million copies sold. But the wild part is, this book didn't just blow up when it came out in 2017. Nah, it took a few years and a huge wave of hype on Book Talk for it to just completely explode. Seriously, bookstores couldn't even keep it in stock. So you might be asking, how does a book from 2017 suddenly become the hottest thing out there? Well, it all comes down to what people call the book talk effect. This book is basically a masterclass in how social media can find a story years later and turn it into this massive viral thing. And when you break it down, it's pretty clear why it works so well. It's like the perfect storm of addictive elements. You've got that old Hollywood glamour, right? The drama of a forbidden love story. You have these incredibly powerful themes of LGBTQ plus pride. And then you have a main character who is so complex, so morally gray, you just can't stop watching her. It's pure catnip for readers. All right, let's get to the heart of this thing and meet the legend herself, Evelyn Hugo. Now, she is this fictional silver screen goddess from the 50s, totally famous for her unbelievable beauty, her ruthless ambition, and of course, those 7 scandalous marriages. But here's the thing. She wasn't born Evelyn Hugo. She started out as Evelyn Herrera, a really determined Cuban-American girl from New York. And in a move that was sadly super common back then, the studio system just erased that part of her. They stripped away her heritage, changed her name, bleached her hair, all to create a more, quote, marketable star. This reinvention? It was her very first move on the chessboard. And that brings us to the husbands. Look, Evelyn Hugo didn't just stumble into 7 marriages by accident. Oh no, this woman was playing 4D chess with her own life, and every single husband was a pawn, a piece, moved for a very specific reason. And you gotta understand, these marriages were almost never about love. They were chess moves. Ernie Diaz, he was just her ticket to Hollywood. Don Adler was the abusive superstar she had to break free from. Mick Riva, a completely ridiculous 24-hour marriage just to distract the tabloids. Rex North was a straight-up publicity stunt. Harry Cameron? Okay, he was her soulmate, but as a best friend. Max Gerard was a director who was in love with her image, not the real her. And Robert Jamieson? Well, his job was to protect her legacy and her biggest secret. And this is the moment in the book where you realize, wait a second, this isn't really about the 7 men at all. The husbands are just the flashy, scandalous cover story. The real story, the one she protected her entire life, that's something else entirely. So it all leads to this one central question, the real heartbeat of the whole novel. After all those men, all those tabloid headlines, who did Evelyn Hugo truly love? And there's your answer. The great love of Evelyn Hugo's life was never one of her 7 husbands. It was Celia St. James, another famous actress who was supposed to be her biggest rival. That was the secret she guarded for decades. And this contrast is everything. Publicly, she had to be the straight bombshell. She used those marriages and affairs to build her power and her fame. But in private, she was a bisexual woman who was deeply in love with another woman. You have to remember, in mid-century Hollywood, that truth would have destroyed both of their careers. It's a struggle that still resonates so much today. And the cost of keeping that secret? It was just immense. It meant hiding every single day. It meant going through with strategic, loveless marriages. It led to years of heartbreaking separation and betrayals, and just this constant nagging fear of being found out. Their love story is absolutely epic, but it's also a tragedy shaped by the world they had to live in. So you have to ask, why? Why make all these choices that, let's be honest, are pretty morally gray? It all boils down to the book's deepest, most powerful theme, the staggering price of ambition. See, for Evelyn, ambition wasn't just about being famous. It was a survival tool. She was in an industry run by men who wanted to use her up and throw her away. So for her, ambition was her weapon. It was her shield. It's this kind of fierce female ambition that feels so relevant because it challenges that whole idea that powerful women have to be likable. This quote right here, this is pure Evelyn Hugo. It's her entire life philosophy in one sentence. She figured out very early on that if she wanted power, if she wanted respect, or even just to survive, nobody was going to hand it to her. She had to go out and take it. And you can really see her entire strategy in these steps. First, she reinvented herself just to get a foot in the door. Then, she used her marriages and the media to grab power and control her own story. With that power, she started demanding respect, fighting for the pay and the roles she actually deserved. But that last step, that's the painful one. Facing the reality that this climb, this fight, often came at the direct expense of love, leaving her powerful but so lonely. So after all that, where do we end up? Well, despite all the sacrifice, all the heartbreak, Evelyn Hugo ultimately got exactly what she set out to get. She became a legend, and she did it entirely on her own terms. And this, right here, this is the magic of the book. The seven husbands, the Hollywood gossip, that's what pulls you in, right? It's juicy, it's glamorous. But what keeps you turning the pages, what makes this story stick with you, is the raw, devastating human heartbreak at the center of it all. And that's really her legacy. You might not agree with every choice she made, and she definitely hurt people along the way, but you just can't help but admire her. She's fierce, she's flawed, and she is an absolutely unforgettable character who refused to let anyone else write her story. She took the pen and wrote it herself, no matter what it cost. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Evelyn Hugo made her choices, and she paid the price. So the question the book kind of leaves you with is this: what price would you be willing to pay to live a life that is completely 100% on your own terms?